Okay, so how is everyone today, or this evening, I should say?
Hi there, doing pretty good.
Yeah, good. Mia, I haven't seen you on the other ones. This is the first one you've done from the series,
No,
right?
actually, this is I'm borrowing this.
Oh, it's you.
This is Kiana.
Well, your voice sounds
Sorry,
familiar. Okay.
sorry. Let me
No,
redo that.
no worries.
Okay.
No worries at all. Okay. Yes, I think we have a smaller group tonight. So, how'd you guys do over the last week? Anything, any questions? Did you change anything? Did you inquire about anything?
Yeah, the ghee, the clarified butter,
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'm kind of going through the pantry and seeing what I can what I can change right away and what I'll have to do over time
Mm-hmm.
just to be practical.
Yeah.
I
Well,
am having, just a forewarning, I am having
mhm.
trouble with my Wi-Fi tonight. I'm
Okay.
trying to square that away, so it'll be intermittent. But if you lose me, I will come right back,
Okay. I'll
just
let
so
you
you
back
know.
in. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's making changes, being aware of them, and then one little thing at a time, again, adds up over the course of,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like I said, it could mean changes in blood work a year from now,
Mm,
that you might not think about that this may impact, because a lot of times if someone has, and even I, before I became educated, experiencing higher levels of cholesterol, higher levels of triglycerides, and the doctor would say, okay, we'll stay away from fried foods, and I
mhm.
would say, no, I don't eat fried foods. It's just never been in, maybe as a kid, of course, we had French fries.
Yeah.
I know my mother didn't purposely fry anything; everything was baked, but my cooking didn't involve frying. And then when I discovered and started to eliminate the um, simple, the white processed flours, the things that I didn't eat because I kept out of stuff out of my diet because it was high in fat, but I ate more of the white processed flours and sugars. Taking that out of my diet actually reduced. So that's really where the huge
Yeah.
impact to blood pressure and cholesterol comes from sugar, and simple carbs. So it's those little things, when we make changes, can have a big impact on our health over time. Yeah, there was a study that just came out today that they were looking at Alzheimer's disease and how the blood sugar, so our glucose in our blood, elevated blood glucose, um, and on the flip side, not having HDL, having good levels of HDL, and then having, which helps, because if we have too low, if HDL is too low, that is also an implication of some disease in the body. But sugar and triglycerides elevated for 35-year people who were 35 years old and older, showed increases in their ability to get Alzheimer's disease. So it really does have an impact on our brain, what we eat, and because it's an inflammation to the brain. And once again, when we have inflammation, we have oxidative stress. So all these little things, and need to think about how we can eat for energy by choosing things that are unique for our own bodies, not what our neighbor's doing, not what they're saying on Facebook. Everybody is unique and different. So what is it that your body needs, and how you can maximize, minimize, and prioritize things in your environment? And that's more than just food. It's sleep, it's joy, it's getting out in nature, it's eliminating processed foods. So it's creating that environment where your body can heal and thrive. And then, we don't want to just be surviving, we want to be thriving. So I'm going to put, I just lost her. Let me see if she just dropped off, if I have to let her back in again. And then I will start the slide. give her one more second. All right, well, what I'll do is I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay, so tonight's, whoops, started right in the middle here. Okay, so tonight was titled Eating for Energy, and that's really getting us in a place from just thriving, from surviving to thriving, right? We want to be alive and well and having energy when we get up in the morning, when we go to bed at night, not being so exhausted, but feeling like we've accomplished, we've did what we needed to do for the day, and we can go to bed feeling well rested. Go to bed and have a good night's sleep, sleep deeply. That's where our body can digest and heal, and get us ready for the next day. And that's where our body detoxifies too, is when we are sleeping, both the brain, the liver, the kidneys. So this is a little funny. I make a joke sometimes, but it's not funny. But it's funny is that we come into this world, we go out the way we came in. And if we want to slow the process and live a lifestyle where we can be active, contribute to society, be there for family, have fun, enjoy, we want to make sure that we are eating and fueling our bodies for energy, slow down disease, reverse disease, slow down the aging process. And this was right off of the research that I was just talking about today, explaining how the brain relies on glucose for energy. But excess glucose in the brain can undergo chemical reactions that make it damaging and inflammation inducing. When glucose levels are high over extended periods, there is a chronic neuroinflammation that may result. So this is talking about high levels of glucose. We're taking in too much from the processed foods, remembering that our bodies do make glucose on its own, but it's the added glucose from fructose, which is from candies and cookies and baked goods, is really what is damaging our bodies. Right, so we want to be here. I know I want to be here a really long time. And I want to be here in a way that I'm not, I'm energized and I'm alive and well and being existing in my world, so I know what's going on, and to live long enough, right? We are living long. I guess the average lifespan at the current moment is 78, which really, honestly, to me, that doesn't sound old at all. I had my grandparents lived into their 90s. So I'm thankful that there's some longevity in my family, but my goal really is to even extend beyond that point and really have both mind and body when I'm at that ripe old age. Okay, so, just discussing the average American experience. These are symptoms that we experience. They're not the disease itself. These are just symptoms. And what is our body telling us? A symptom really is a gift. It's letting you know there's something going on and I need your help. I need you to pay attention to what is here. And before it gets too extreme, before it is, we're at the doctors with medications and things like that. So this is what we're experiencing now, especially with anxiety, depression, mental health, insomnia. A lot of this then contributes to belly fat and the other symptoms that lead to the disease dynamic. So the typical energy you feel or don't feel is a good sign of the path you are headed down. So if you're, there are people who are not morning people. There are people who, do take a little longer to start up their day, and there can be various reasons for that. But at the end of the day, taking note of how you feel when you get up in the morning, what you feel like midday. Is there that 3 o'clock slump? Do we just feel exhausted all the time? Those, again, are symptoms, and they're signs from the body to say it's time for a change, time to help before it gets to a point where a medication or something else is needed. But ultimately, we want to have the most energy that we can from when we get up in the morning to when we put our head on the pillow. And it all starts with food, right? Food is powerful. It can either cause disease or it can prevent. And they just had, again, on the news right before this, how they're testing using cooking oil as fuel for airplanes. So I question now, once again, what do they mean by it? Cooking oil, vegetable oil, seed oils, and that's what they're putting in food for us to eat. We do eat several thousand of pounds of food in a lifetime. We make a couple of hundred decisions a day in what we're going to eat and drink. And so that can become exhausting and cumbersome, but it is reality, and we do need to eat to survive, right? In the first webinar, we did talk about how food is information for the body. So what do we want it to tell our body? Do we want an apple that with fiber, with over 700 nutrients in it, to give information to our cells, to our DNA? Or do we want to choose something like a cookie or a donut? What signals and signs is that information giving to the body? It's giving our eyes, and it's releasing the endorphins and the serotonin, because donuts, sugar does do that to us. It gives us that elated feeling. That's what, that's a comfort, but it also lifts us up, right? Hits those dopamine centers. An apple, however, and that doesn't last very long. And why doesn't that? And then what do? We go and grab another one. But an apple with over 700 nutrients is going to ultimately feed numerous cells in our body, giving it what it needs, our microbiome, and the little critters in our gut. This is what they want. They want fiber. They need fiber. They use fiber for their immune system, which obviously and then impacts and benefits our immune system. So the consumption of food means not only the ingestion of the caloric energy, but also the uploading of information. So in case of some tasty foods, this information may be stress, right? So even though it tastes good going down and we love it, that information going to our body are more signs, are signals of stress, because it's a food-like substance that our body, that our microbiome and our cells, they don't recognize. So even though we're ingesting it, it's not going, and it's a calorie, right? And calories, energy, it's not going to do what it needs to do for the body. It's not going to upload the information, almost like a computer. We're not going to put the wrong flash drive in there to upload the information, because it's not going to work. We have to find the right one. And that's pretty much how food works. We want to eat food that's not going to be stressful on the body, leading to oxidative stress, leading to inflammation. We want things that calm the body, that can heal the body, and give it the nutrients it needs. And so we always want to eat whole foods, not broken ones. And what does that mean? That really does mean whole foods. Recognizable food from the ground, from the trees, where our ancestors, how they ate. It's sounds like almost, like, okay, that's obvious, but it is so truthful, to try, right? Get an 80-20 rule. Not to say that every day is perfect and we're going to be eating, right from the ground every day, but if to incorporate a lifestyle where we're eating 80-20, as much whole foods as we can, and then, yeah, indulging in a slice of cake, indulging in something special on occasions, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because that truly is dessert, right? That truly is, but it when we're having cereal for breakfast, it's almost like we're having dessert. When we eat granola bars, it's like we're having dessert. We're eating dessert all day long, not knowing it. So eating an 80-20 rule is a good way of not saying things are so strict, and not saying that you can't sustain a certain lifestyle, but one that you can enjoy and indulge, yet still have your energy and fueling your body. Right? So we want less of these. This is not, this is food-like substances. This is not real whole food. The 100-calorie packed snacks, the pastas, the super smoothies, because it's yogurt, we think it's really good, but it's got so much sugar in it. It's just like drinking sugar water. Cookies, candy, chips. So these are the things that most Americans are eating. Taking a look at the grocery store and watching what might be in someone's shopping cart. I never paid attention until I decided to pay attention. And it's quite interesting. And the cost of food is so expensive today that we understand why they make the crap food cheap and the healthy food expensive. And that's what people are going to gravitate towards, what they can fill their pantries with at a lesser cost. But we want to be eating more of this. And incorporating at all of these in different ways, right? So this is not something that you're going to say, I need to eat each and every one of these every day, but to continuously try and experiment and let me just say, I just want to make sure everybody's in there. Okay. To experiment and to expand the palate, right? No one needs cookbooks these days. The internet is amazing. You can pull up anything, absolutely anything. They have now recipes for these new air fryers out there as well. But paying attention to how we're cooking a food, where it's not overcooked, charred too much, because that also is not good to ingest, but keeping in mind that these are the things that our bodies need. Right? So what whole food, right? What it looks like, what Mother Nature made. It's unprocessed. Reading the ingredient list. Even though some stuff may keep, we look for convenience over healthy. The broken ultra processed foods, they do without, when our bodies are suffering from lack of nutrition, lack of vitamins, minerals, essential fats, essential amino acids, we do crave foods. The body's going to crave. It's not craving, it doesn't, we assume, or we think it's craving something. Candy, cookies, I'm hungry. But truly paying attention to what is it that it's craving? What did I eat today? What is it that I fueled my body with? Am I dehydrated? Did I not get enough sleep? Sleep is another nutrient that I feel is important to think about, because lack of sleep, first of all, lack of sleep cortisol does increase right? We may blood sugar may drop in the middle of the night and we get up looking for food. So sleep is important because you will start to crave something just because you're so tired. And getting a quick boost of a sugar rush is how most people might fill their craving, not realizing that it's a big plate of salad with salmon, maybe some quinoa, that the body's really craving. Healthy fats, fiber, some whole grains, and that's what can basically really put a person in a good place and eliminate those cravings. Leads to belly fat, weight gain, inflammation, and eventually the chronic disease. I don't know why my right side is smaller than my left side, my whole foods and my broken foods, but here we are, right? So we know what whole foods look like. Going, not a lot of cheese, but some cheese is not bad. Unflavored yogurt versus flavored. Whole fat yogurt versus non-fat. I mean, we don't necessarily need the non-fat. Nuts, legumes, almonds, walnuts. Again, a handful of walnuts and a handful of blueberries eaten together. There are studies that show that it helps slow dementia. It helps with the brain. Why? Because omega-3 fatty acids are in our walnuts. We have the antioxidants and the nutrients from the blueberries. The walnuts also are antioxidants. So it's a power punch snack that your whole body is benefiting from. And then we have our broken foods, and we talked a lot about them: the white flour, the sugar, artificial sweeteners, MSG, which is a neurotoxin to some people. They have a sensitivity to it, crosses the blood-brain barrier. High fructose corn syrup, which is just about in everything. Your soda, trans fats, the seed oils we talked about last week. So staying away from all of those as much as possible and eating more of the whole foods. Okay, so trans fats, right? We want to make sure, right, that we're not eating those oils that are hydrogenated. And that we talked about that last week in the seed oils. We want to make sure that we're not go through, like we just talked about, go through the pantry and pick a few things here and there to substitute, maybe eliminate, maybe it's something that you don't need. Maybe it's something that you can actually find a recipe for and make yourself. Like I said, salad dressings are a big one. They all have these oils in it. And Bragg is a brand, B-R-A-G-G, and they have a line of a couple of salad dressings that taste delicious. They are made with avocado oil and apple cider vinegar, along with some spices. You can put it in your pantry. You don't even need to refrigerate it. And that tastes really good, or making your own. So there's a lot of different things. You can make your own ketchup, you can make your own mayo. And while at first it may sound overwhelming and intimidating, once you make it once and you taste the difference, that's the other thing. And you see how you may not have as much indigestion. Maybe you don't feel bloated from the salt. There's a lot of different things. Maybe your body will respond to it, and you won't. I guess the food coma, right? We get into those food comas when we eat wrong foods or too much of something that our body doesn't benefit from. Avoiding the trans fats, which are commonly found in these things. This is where they come from. And to remember that the FDA allows companies to put in their box 0 trans fats if it's 0.5 grams or less. So depending on how many servings you're eating of one of them, you can have 2, 3, 4 grams of trans fats in it, and you wouldn't even know it. You've already consumed way more than the body can handle. The average American morning. is coffee. It could be a coffee and a donut on the run, in the car, dropping the kids off, on your way to work, sitting in traffic. And then by the time we get to work, maybe we're just not feeling it, or we don't even have the time. We don't realize just how hungry we may be. And we've now avoided breakfast, which, yeah, I know that there's intermittent fasting out there and stuff, but we're not, most Americans are not aiming to do that every day, right? It's about being mindful, about having a calm morning, even if it means getting up a little bit earlier and eating a real breakfast. And that means including a protein and a fat. And that fat could be olive oil on some vegetables with eggs. That fat could be a half of avocado with eggs. Love avocado and eggs. You know, it could be chicken, baked chicken, whatever your protein source is. It could be beans, nuts and seeds. However whatever your choice is, to know that eating fat and protein in the morning is going to keep the blood sugar even. You're going to feel calm. You're not going to have the spikes and drops in the blood sugar, which can lead to, right, the liver is working harder. Insulin has to be pushed out and then regulated from the pancreas. It's a signal to our body of what our day is going to be like. So do we want our mornings to be calm, or do we want our mornings to be chaotic? Do we want to nourish ourselves in the morning, knowing that we can feel grounded and energized, or do we want to be skittish and on edge? I know I would suffer from lots of highs and lows of mood swings when I didn't eat right. So how can we start off our morning so it's calm and nourished? And so just like I said, what do we how we start our day is so important. Mindset and our bodies. So if we are going to bed at 10 a.m. in the morning and we're not waking until 7 o'clock and there's no midnight snacking, we're basically fasted overnight. If we had our last meal and we stopped eating at 7, and we get up and it's 7, so we've already fasted for 12 hours. And we also get up dehydrated. So we haven't had anything to drink. We haven't had anything to eat since 6 or 7 the night before. We are basically fasting at that moment. Breakfast is a signal to the body. This is part of our environment. Either it's going to signal that we're in a crisis and we're dumping sugar and simple carbs down and coffee, or it's going to send a signal to our body and our brain to say, our nervous system. It impacts our nervous system. Do we want to have a nervous system that's heightened and is feeling like it's threatened? Or is it a nervous system that we want to feel calm, rested, digesting our food, where we can begin a day even keeled and ready with a lot of energy? So carbohydrates, how we digest carbohydrates, our simple carbs versus our complex carbs. Those easily digested carbohydrates spikes our blood sugar, spikes our insulin, because our pancreas now has to push out the insulin so that way the glucose can get into the cells, and so that it's not circulating through the body, causing oxidative stress and inflammation. Or we can eat something that is slow to digest, that has fiber, that has protein, that has fat. And there, the body's not on this constant swing of high blood sugar, low blood sugar. That's where we crave. High blood sugar, low blood sugar. We crave. We want to make sure that we're feeding our bodies, so this way the liver and the pancreas are not working overtime. And to experiment and actually think about, they call I use food mood logs with some of my clients, and it's an experiment for them to determine how they feel right? It's not about food is good or bad. It's about how is this impacting my mood? So if I was to eat a bagel with no egg, a cup of coffee, 2 hours later, I would be starving, hungry. My stomach would be ground. Didn't do anything to me. There was no protein or fat or fiber to slow down the digestion of the sugar. It peaked and it dropped. Or is it something that gave me a headache? Or is it something that made my stomach hurt? And again, food is something that may or may not impact how you feel immediately. It may take a couple of days for the immune system to wake up and say, you know what, that's not really that doesn't help me. I'm a little sensitive to that. So keeping a food log just to see how you feel, connecting the body and the mind, and seeing if eating eggs, an avocado, half of avocado, and a big thing of sauteed spinach and mushrooms, you ate that at 8, and at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, you still felt satisfied and had no slumps of energy, you know that that's what your body needs. All right, so we're living this is probably worse now than maybe when I had kids and running around with them, but right now, the average American families, this is how we're running. This is how they're running. No breakfast in the morning, breakfast on the go, breakfast through the drive-through. Then we're eating lunch at work, purchasing maybe takeout or from the vending machine, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but pizza, heavy, foods high in sodium, high in sugar. And then that's lunchtime, and by 3 o'clock, people are slumped at their desks. So what do? We'd run and we go into the vending machine and get the cookie or the soda. Then there's, the drive home in the car. We don't move as much as we did many years ago when our grandparents and their parents, everything is, we're sitting. We're just sitting. And now we come home and we eat a giant dinner. And that could be at 7, 8 o'clock when kids are done with sports, or you get home from traffic. And then maybe a snack before we go to bed. So this is a recipe for weight gain, exhaustion, indigestion, poor sleep, and absolutely no energy. And we want to send the right signals to the body. They not a signal of sugar and exhaustion, but we want of abundant energy. What can we send our nervous system to let it know we are giving it what it needs to be in a calm state? To eat breakfast every day, a real breakfast. Choose unprocessed fiber-filled carbohydrates and go for the veggies. Choosing these unprocessed fiber-filled, the more, and these are complex carbohydrates. So they're high in fiber, which keeps us satisfied. It's feeding our microbiome, which needs fiber in order to give us a good, healthy immune system. COVID is starting to upswing again with this B2 variant. Something that I do for the company I work for is monitor the cases, and we're starting to see people come in positive again. So how can we create a resilient body with energy that's going to have a good immune health, that we will be able to enjoy an indulgence on occasion and have all the energy that we want? Concluding the protein and the fat. Glucagon from protein helps you utilize the fat, which is you need for energy. So glucose is the energy for the brain, but we want to tap into the fat for energy for the body. We want to eat healthy fats to lose fat. Eliminating fat, the fat-free craze, created more and more diabetes and obese Americans than ever before. And just and try new things. It's okay. sometimes some of the stuff in these in Whole Foods, not so much Trader Joe's, but Whole Foods has really unique different things. And to be okay with trying different fruits and vegetables. And again, the internet and Google for recipes, hands down. Nobody needs a cookbook anymore. We can go right to the internet and find anything, how to cook anything today. Good, bad, or indifferent. Right? So it takes work, and we have to choose the time to really, truly be well. Because we're going to get sick, right? That's what eating the processed food will do. Right? And if we do become sick, guess what? That takes time. That takes energy. It takes us away from our loved ones. It takes us away from the things that we love to do. You know, not to say that everything we do is going to totally prevent. It's not. But if we can prevent most of the things, and while we're here in existence, enjoy and be present because we have the energy and the health, then that's truly living and creating an environment for thriving. And you do. You have the power to take your health back. You have the power to feel energized, and not be a victim, I guess you can say, of the food manufacturers, of the commercials, of the packaging that's out there. And yeah, I was just thinking of something today. So lifestyle choices do matter. And it's creating that lifestyle that fits with your lifestyle, right? That improves your, improves your health, your well-being, your relationships, your connections, to be able to function well into our older years without having to need assistance or any kind of, dementia. And so to create an environment for healing. And it's more than just the food when we, as far as eating is concerned. To eating hygiene is something that, it's not so sexy, right? To think about how we eat our food, where we eat it, when we eat it, but it really does make a huge impact on our nervous system, on our digestive system. And to be conscious of sitting down, right? Sitting down, putting both feet flat on the floor, on the ground, on the floor, knees tightly, slightly tilted down. So we're sitting up and not slumped, opening up the diaphragm and chewing our food. On average, we chew it maybe 8 times. Try chewing it at least 20 times. What'll happen is that gives your body's stomach acid is going to start to kick in. The digestive enzymes from our pancreas will start to get released. The enzymes from our gallbladder and our bile will start to get released. And then our bodies will be able to denature the fats and proteins so that we can digest and absorb, convert all of our vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that we're getting from these foods into their final form. Sipping small amounts of water during mealtime versus a big glass. Something that, and not only that, was completely washing nutrients and everything. So this is going to impede your digestion. Just small sips. You can even put, small glass of water with a hint of lemon juice in it, real lemon. That helps with digestion. That helps the stomach acid. Stomach acid is something that declines over time as we age. It also declines because of medications, because of stress. So there's a lot of variables that can decrease our stomach acid, which is needed for the vitamins and minerals to be converted to their final form. The other thing is, I didn't put it on here, is even Gauge 3 hours before bedtime. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bedtime to allow the body to digest. When we're not laying down and then feeling indigestion. So at least 3 hours before bed, try not to consume any more food. Move like your life depends on. So movement. Right? We sit all day long. If we have a desk job, if we drive to work, take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park as far as you can. March in place. Do all of these things during commercials if you're watching something. I purchased a standing desk to put my laptop on, which is one that I can just pop open, put on my desk, and I'm standing. I stand at least half of the day doing my work because sitting is so horrible for our health. It's the new smoking. There's no circulation. We're sitting here with our knees bent. Our spinal column is being impinged because we're just sitting the whole day. So standing up and working, taking breaks during the day, walking the dog, getting out in nature, dancing, whatever it is, it does not have to be 3 hours in the gym. Every little bit counts and adds up. And being mindful, taking a holistic approach to creating that environment for our nervous system so that it responds when it's threatened for a short period of time, which is that sympathetic nervous system. It's going to run, hide, flee, but to have our bodies in a parasympathetic nervous system is going to help us create that healing environment where we're resting. That's our rest and digest mode. That's where we're meant to be most of the time, not lethargic, but where we are calm, our bodies are not fighting, our cortisol is not constantly being turned over because they think there's something wrong. There's a perception. We perceive, our minds respond to what we perceive. We're thinking about things day in and day night. Those automatic negative thoughts, I use the acronym ANTS for them. What am I thinking? Is this anything that I can change? So what is your body? What is your mind? How does it perceive the stress? There are breathing techniques that you can look into. Meditation, and meditation does not have to be anything where we're sitting in a chair or we're laying in bed and we're breathing and we're trying to get thoughts out of our head. That's not, I mean, that's meditating, but the mind's not going to work that way. But you can go outside and do a walking meditation, slowing down the pace of how you walk. Takes practice. When I tried it, I went through a course. It was the hardest thing to do because as human beings, we are going and going and doing and doing. We're not just sitting and being. So to force yourself to slow down, take a mindful step, imagining and feeling. If you're doing it with shoes, you're walking in the street, that's one thing. Feel the sneaker and the ground beneath you. If you're doing it in the sand, in the grass, do it barefoot and actually feel the ground, your toes, the heel of your foot, the ball of your foot, the outline of your foot. Be conscious and aware. That is a meditation. You aren't thinking about anything else as you focus on, oh my God, I have to slow down. Slow down, right? It's hard to do. Downloading a meditation app. Insight Timer is one that is free. I love it because it has talks, it has meditations for every state of well-being you can think of, whether it's stress, whether it's a pregnant mom, whether it's somebody who has body image things that they're working through, if it's anxiety, sleep. There are talks. You can actually, if you wanted to, pay for a course with a practitioner. Is extremely helpful, from a minute to an hour, whatever fits into your day. Find joy and celebrate the small things in life. I think with the pandemic, that has forced many of us, including myself, to realize that it's not just about the graduations and weddings that everybody missed out on, which was very hard for me to personally work through. But it's the really small, the daily things. Maybe it's celebrating tomorrow that 5 or 10 minutes that maybe you wake up earlier, or a half hour to get quiet time before everybody else is up in the house, to make your breakfast, to eat and taste it and savor it and enjoy the cup of coffee before getting into the car and going to work. That is just something to celebrate. Starting a gratitude journal, right? It's being grateful. That's the small things, but also, and the good things, but also maybe looking at things that may have not been so good and finding the learning lesson in it and being thankful because it may have done X, Y, and Z for you. To reflect on those things, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night, depending on when you're able to do it, where you, whatever suits you, might be a nice thing to begin. Taking an Epsom salt bath. Warm Epsom salts have magnesium in it, and magnesium is a mineral most, if not all, people are deficient in because it's not in our soil. So our food doesn't have as much of it. But that is, sitting in a warm bath is calming. To do it before bed, to create this routine, this bedtime routine, where we can shut down electronics, turn off the TV. Doing this an hour to an hour and a half before bed can really put us in a nice, calm state where we are getting the deep sleep, where we are healing and rejuvenating and getting well rested for the next day. Okay, so this really was just an accumulation, of everything that we have talked about and information that I hope some of it was helpful, some of it maybe some things that you didn't know, maybe a lot of things you did know but needed reminders on, but to really be inspired and empowered to take this forward and share it with family, share it with friends, loved ones, spouses, anybody who you think might need a little bit of and again, it could be so simple, like someone reading a label on, how many teaspoons of sugar, how many grams of sugar, and that just being a game, or I know sometimes our own family doesn't listen to us, or a friend who might be struggling, say, well, you know what, maybe it's the sugar, or maybe it's a certain food. If you haven't been feeling your best, let's maybe try eliminating it, or watching how much you're eating. And it's just one small thing. It doesn't have to be too much to to take. And so, hopefully this has helped you guys. And let's see, anything else? Yeah, no, that's it. Okay. And hopefully it is brought some awareness and some information, like I said, that you might not have had, and that you learned something. You guys have any questions? Comments?
No, that was very, very helpful. I appreciate it. It really, it got me inspired again. I'm reading labels, and after a while you read the ingredients and and they wear you down after a
I-
while, and you get lazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Also, it could be discouraging. It's like, oh my gosh, I picked this because it, most of it looks healthy, right? Most of it here, but then you look at the ingredients on something that you thought was good, and I have done it. Like I said, if the writing on the box is small and I can't see something, but if it has that many ingredients in it, if you're looking at it, it's like, all right, well, odds are it's not going to be the best for my health. What else can I choose in replace of that? And it's just one thing at a time. Yeah. Anybody else?
I second what Ken said. I'm getting inspired to read labels again because I used to for a while, but then yeah, I stopped because it just life happens and you get busy. But I need to, slow down and start doing that again. I'm focusing on water intake and just being a little more conscious of the choices that I'm making for, the stuff that I want to eat. So it's I'm still not 100% healthy or anything like that, but I am aware and I'm setting intentions to do much better. So this is that's why I took this. I was really interested in just educating myself a little bit more, and also, the inspiration behind it too.
Yeah.
I need that.
No, it definitely it is. It's to see that because again, not even 10 years ago, I didn't know as much as I know now. And every day I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And it's, and things change, new research comes out, right? New things come out. We see it on the TV all the time, but it's really what research are they going to make sure it's firm research, because there's a lot of misinformation out
Who's
there.
funding it? Who's funding the research?
Right, exactly. Like the, American Heart Association, who was funded by Procter and Gamble,
Mm.
and then because they had to say that these oils were healthy and good,
Right.
and because they got all this money. So
Yeah.
that unfortunately is, but supporting those local, I don't know where you guys live, but looking into different farms that are close by that, if you have a friend and they call them, I don't know if you've heard it's called the CSA, Consumer Supported Agriculture. And what you do is, and you could probably just Google it put in your town and look for CSAs, they call it. But it's to come the spring, and now is probably a good time to do it. You can share it. You can actually go in with somebody and they call them shares, and you can buy a half a share or a whole share. And a whole share could be $500. But what it is a weekly box of fruits and vegetables from that farm. And you get towards the end of the season, I will warn you, like in September and October, when they start to clear things out, there's a lot of peppers, and there's a lot of, in the summer, there's a lot of cucumbers. And so sometimes it's nice if you live alone, or if you don't have, a big family, to get a lot of vegetables. Just sometimes it's too much, right? But to share it with a friend and go half and half, where you can then split the box between two people or two families, and you're supporting your local farmer, getting fruits and vegetables. You don't have to worry about going to the grocery store, and they taste better because they're not traveling thousands of miles across from California to here to give us a bag of strawberries.
Right. You said CSA, Consumer Supported Agriculture.
Okay. Yeah. And if there's an organic farm nearby, even better, so it's little things that are that can be done. If you live in a community, I don't know if you live in, I don't know if anybody's from the community that Teresa also does training at, but looking into things where maybe they can network with these local farmers to for the members. But it's definitely worth it, because you don't need to go to the grocery store for that stuff. To the farm, and that's how we support them, and you support your health.
I'll look into that.
Definitely.
maybe a little bit too much, but it's worth a look because I don't know
look, 'cause
anyone that I could split this with.
Yeah. I think they also sell them by half a shares too, which means that it's a smaller box of
Oh, okay.
produce. Yeah. And they tell you whatever's in season that week or that month, that's what you get. You know, they just pick from the farm.
Okay. It's really organic
Mhm.
in every sense. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Anything
thank
else?
you so much.
You're welcome. And Teresa has my information. If you guys ever need anything or have questions, just feel free.
Will we be getting access to the video or
I think she
recorded
said
material?
she should. She was recording them because some people paid and couldn't get on some of the videos. So yeah, I will when we're done, I'll email her and just ask her. I think
Okay. I think she did mention it. I wasn't sure if that included everybody or just the ones that couldn't make it live.
Hi, guys. I'm still here. Yes, you will get all the recordings.
Oh, awesome.
there
Thank
you
you
are.
so much.
I was like, I think I saw
I'm
some
listening.
in.
I just came back over,
Okay.
but you will.
Oh,
Okay, I
that's
just have to
great.
process tonight's. I process it, then I'll put it up on Vimeo, and then I'll give you the links.
Oh, of course. Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Anything else, guys?
No, that's it.
All right. All right. Thank
Good
you,
info.
everyone. It was
Thank you.
great meeting you all. Have
Thank
a good
you.
night. Okay.
See you again, hopefully.
Yeah,
Take
definitely.
care.
All righty.
Good luck with your classes. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.